As far back as I can remember, I know that I came from a lot of brokenness. But then God must have sent someone spoke to me. I'd never experienced that ever. Walking with Christ is the best thing ever. It's changed my life. Probably about a year before COVID, I started going to a church, which again is another story. One of my last youngest child was born, and I kind of, in the hospital, I met up with a pastor who was there, who he was having a baby too, and he kind of said to me like he was going to be the local pastor in the local church in Downend, and I thought, right, I'm going to check this out, but I never did. And then one Sunday I got up and I thought, you know what? I can't live like this no more. You know, I was a single dad with 3 children. Just come out of a broken, toxic relationship. It was a mess. And I went to church this day, and I kind of had that feeling like I was in the right place. And I just continued going, but I felt quite stuck, like just in the cycle of going to church, that's it, coming away from church, going to church, going away from church. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, I had a friend who had kind of come to Christ, walking with Christ, and he kind of kept encouraging me along this journey, saying to me, come to our church, you need to come there one day. And I was like, yeah, maybe, and it never happened. And then after a while, I think it was down to, he wanted a lift to church, and I was like, okay, I'll give you a lift. And you might as well come in as well. So yeah, I'll never forget that day. As I remember walking through the foyer, and I had this instant feeling. This is before anybody even spoke to me. I seen the welcome team on the door. They said hello, but like I just felt I'm at home. Do you know what I mean? I felt like, as I did as a child, when I remember I used to come from school and walk into my grandma's house, which is where the best part of my upbringing was, you know, and where, you know, the anything biblical was planted. I felt at home, and I'll never forget, like, I was sat in the church and somebody, in fact, this is a mad story because my wife now is the first person who approached me and said to me, have you got a Bible? And I was like, no. And then this guy came over, who I know now to be as Ben, who's like an amazing brother within the church. I've walked alongside, or at least walked alongside me during my journey. He came up to me and gave me this pack with a Bible in and stuff. And yeah, that was probably the first time I kind of felt the Holy Spirit. I started crying, water was just running down my face, tears, you know, and I couldn't stop it. But these tears was of happiness, feeling safe. I'd never experienced that ever. Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm crying, it's like this. I'm in a prison cell or something is going wrong. You know what I mean? And it was an amazing feeling. And I kind of like said, right, I'll be back next week. Left church and came back the weekend, and I felt so good. And I just gradually started to feel like I'm at home. I felt really welcome. I felt these people are my family. And again, my wife. I remember saying to her, like asking her, like, because she was the first person who approached me, and also Ben. I said to her, could you baptise me? And I spoke to Ben about it, and it was like, yeah, you know, I spoke to Rich about it. And I thought I had to go through this criteria of like, I've got to change, I've got to stop all what I'm doing wrong. You know what I mean? Because at the time, obviously, I've just come to church. I'm not walking with God. You know, I was still in my addiction. Still using substances to make myself feel better, you know, and Rich is like, yeah, it's okay, just, you know, just come. And and I had this vision actually, and I remember the vision. At the time I didn't know what a vision was, but these thoughts going through my head, like, and I was like, and I had to speak to my wife. I said, imagine you baptised me and ended up being my wife. And I don't know, this God must have sent me this message or what, you know. Now I see it as a vision. Which I'd never believed. You know, I was a single dad, just like come through so many relationships, and I thought, I'm not going to do this no more. I just want to be on my own with my children. As I said, I was still on the fence. I was still in the world because I was still doing worldly stuff, you know. And I think it's like last July, something just switched in me, and I kind of thought, you know what, I need to stop this. This whatever I'm doing needs to stop. You know, I'm smoking weed or whatever it is. I need to change, and then I need to. I was starting to like listen to music, which I used to listen to, and feel uncomfortable with it. Like they'd be swearing with it, gang stuff, and sex and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, this don't feel. I don't feel right with this. And this like God has shifted something in me. So things started to change from then, and I think what really shifted in me is I was invited to a men's conference. Well, I wasn't invited, it was put out there, and I was like, do I need to? You know what I mean? Do I need to go to this conference? And I thought, maybe I should go, because I read there was kind of different groups going on, and I was like, well, I've got none of these issues, I'm fine. But then God must have sent someone spoke to me and says, well, hold on a minute. And we had this conversation, and I realised, you know what? I need all three groups. But I chose one, which was a brother Nick, and it was amazing. And that shifted something in me massive, because I started a new journey from then. And I feel that from continuing, I feel and know that I'm now walking with God. Yeah, my life's changed dramatically since then. I'm involved in my life group quite heavily. I'm involved with the volunteering. I've got to know all the brothers and sisters. I got married within the church, and there was all my church family was here. I'm continuing on that journey daily. I'm not perfect, far from it, but and what I'm seeing is like my children, like they've come through brokenness and they're healing now, and they're actually fighting with each other as who's going to pray first at night. We read a chapter from the Bible every night together, and they're like, oh, like I'm tired tonight, I need to go to bed. They're like, no, we need to read the Bible. It's amazing the way things have changed within my family unit. Within 18 months, my life has totally changed. People have seen it around me. There's nothing else. I've tried other areas in life. I've tried other faiths. I've tried Buddhism. I've tried Jehovah's Witness. I've tried Muslim. Anything, but walking with Christ is the best thing ever. It's changed my life. And for anybody that's like struggling out there, or they're not sure, or just give it a go. Just give it a go, just let God in and just let him do the work, and just leave everything at his feet, and everything will be blessed. That's all I can say.